So when you hear the name Elon Musk, what comes to mind? Probably Tesla, right? SpaceX, and yeah, maybe some pretty wild tweets. But behind all the headlines, there's actually a surprisingly consistent and incredibly ambitious blueprint for the future of humanity. Today, we're going to break down that grand vision.
But first, let me ask you something. Imagine you had 7.8 trillion baht. Now, that's over 200 billion US dollars, just a mind-boggling amount of money. What would you do with it? Seriously, think about it. Buy an island? A sports team? Maybe try to solve a major world problem.
Well, for Elon Musk, the answer to that question is way, way bigger. In fact, it's not even on Earth.
You see, at the very core of all his companies, all his projects, there's this one single driving mission for humanity. And despite all the complexity and controversy, his starting point is a fundamental belief in us, in our species and our future. He puts it pretty simply himself. He believes we shouldn't just wait for the future to happen. We should actively work to make it a great one. And for him, that future can't be stuck on just one planet. But to get there, he first had to solve a problem that had stumped, literally the smartest people for decades. And that huge problem, you could call it the price wall of space. For our entire history, getting anything or anyone into orbit has been just astronomically, ridiculously expensive. This one single barrier has kept all of us locked on Earth. Think about it like this. Imagine if every single time you drove your car to the grocery store, you had to just throw it away and buy a brand new one for the drive home. Sounds insane, right? Well, for 60 years, that's exactly how we've been treating rockets, as single-use vehicles for a multi-million-dollar trip. So to solve this seemingly impossible cost problem, Musk didn't just try to improve the old design by a few percent. Nope. He went all the way back to the very beginning, using a really powerful mental model to rethink the entire problem from the ground up. It's this idea called first principles thinking, and it's all about ignoring how things have always been done. You don't look at existing rockets and ask, how can we make this 10% cheaper? Instead, you ask, okay, what is a rocket fundamentally made of? And what is the absolute rock bottom cost to build one if we just started from scratch? The process he followed is actually simple, but so powerful. First, he isolated the core problem. Rockets are expensive because we throw them away. Then he broke a rocket down to its fundamental parts. And what are those parts? Not some magical, unobtainable space metal. It's just industrial materials. Aluminum, steel, titanium, copper alloys. He looked up the price of these things on the open market and just did the math. And what he discovered was absolutely staggering. He found that the cost of the actual raw materials in a rocket was only about 2% of its traditional price tag. 2%! The other 98% wasn't essential. It was just the accumulated cost of how things have always been done. And that single insight proved the industry's entire price structure wasn't a law of physics. It was just a habit. By redesigning from scratch, SpaceX could completely shatter that price wall. Now, this incredible cost reduction wasn't just about launching satellites for a bit cheaper. It was about making the ultimate goal financially and physically possible, turning humanity into a multi-planetary species by building a real civilization on Mars. But why Mars? Well, he sees it as a vital backup plan, an insurance policy for life itself. Earth is fragile. The dinosaurs didn't have a space program, and, well, we all know how that ended for them. A civilization on Mars ensures that if some catastrophe strikes us here, humanity survives. And he isn't thinking in centuries. He believes the window to do this is open right now. His own estimates put the first human missions to Mars, in the best case, within 5 years, and in the worst case, within 10. And this is a really key distinction. The goal isn't a repeat of the Apollo missions. Plant a flag, take some pictures, and then not come back for 50 years. No. The goal is to build a real, self-sustaining city, a place where 1 million people could live and work and thrive, even if the ships from Earth just stopped coming. Building a city on a new planet isn't just an engineering challenge. It's also a societal one. It's a chance to rethink the very rules we live by, to essentially reboot civilization without all the baggage of history. Musk has this really unique way of looking at it, comparing laws on Earth to old software. Over centuries, we just keep adding new patches and rules, but we rarely delete the old ones. The system just gets bloated, slow, and full of bugs. For Mars, he proposes a new operating system. Laws that are short, simple to understand, and designed to expire, forcing society to constantly reevaluate if they're still needed. It's a blueprint for a government that stays lean and adaptable. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating final thought. Musk's Mars mission forces us to ask a fundamental question, not just about space, but about ourselves right here. If we had a blank slate, a chance to start all over again, what parts of our current world would be essential enough to pack for the journey? And what would we be better off just leaving behind on Earth?